And we are back with another Thought Leadership podcast. This is Abe Cohn with THC Legal Group. And today we have another interesting guest. Kim, welcome. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you doing?
We're doing great. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What your name, of course, which company that you're involved with, and what your goals are in being a part of this cannabis community.
Absolutely. So, my name is Kim Garrity. I'm the CEO and co founder of Madam Munchie, a leading edible brand in California. Our goal with this company is to really help change the stigma around cannabis by providing quality edibles that are professionally and accurately dosed to all patients and now to recreational people as well.
Wow. Okay. And where are you based out of?
California.
Great, great. So have you noticed kind of anything different since the legislation has passed last week with Prop 64? Or did you think that there's kind of been a difference in the vibe of the cannabis community in California?
Yeah, I really do. And I was hoping for this and expecting this, and I think it's playing out in a great way, which is that now that this vote has passed, a large part of the stigma has been removed from the theme. Because up till now, to be a part of the cannabis community, you had to in some way admit or accept that part of you was ill or sick or that there was something wrong. But now that we have a recreational usage that's allowed by law,
Uh-huh.
people can freely say that they just enjoy cannabis the same way they enjoy wine.
Right.
And I've already seen how it's liberated so many people who were afraid of getting a medical card before because of that stigma, because of the fear of being on a list, and who are now actively going out and getting medical cards because they know they're recreational users, but you can't buy as a recreational user until 2018. But now they feel okay with getting the medical card because a large part of the stigma has been lifted.
Wonderful. And have you noticed within your own business, have things kind of picked up, as you said, because of the removal of this stigma?
I feel like they may have. I mean, orders in the last week have definitely been great. It's still, very early to tell, but
Of
I do
course.
foresee just a general increase in that area.
Oh, wonderful. So tell us about some of the products that you guys are putting out. Or of course you're in the edibles business, but some edibles company like to focus on chocolate, others on brownies or baked goods. Or what part of the edibles business are you trying to really make your mark in?
So, as you can sort of tell by the name Madame Munchie, we are in the French pastry business. At the moment, our flagship product are our medicated French macaroons. So, that's a delicate pastry which is very high end and which was a great starting point for us because, again, it all goes back to removing the stigma and presenting cannabis in a professional and beautiful way.
Uh huh.
We are working on several products at the moment that we hope to be releasing soon, and you can expect a similar quality and creativity in what we hope to release.
Wonderful. And how do you go about um, measuring dosages and allocating proper dosages for the product? Each person experiences cannabis in a different way. So, do you have a process in place that helps you better calibrate which amount of cannabis should be going in each batch, or how does that work?
Absolutely. So we make cannabis butter. We use the flowers directly from the cannabis plants and infuse them into European butter, which we then use in our recipes. So every batch of butter we make gets lab tested, CW analytical, and then once we have the dosage from each batch of butter, we translate that into our recipes, and it gets calculated down into what each macaroon needs to receive.
Mm.
Then we weigh each macaroon out individually while we're filling them out, and that's how we confirm a consistent dosage throughout the production batch.
Oh, fantastic. That's interesting. So, have you run into any regulatory issues, or I should say, even legal issues um, to date? What kind of challenges have you faced as someone who wants to be a part of this community?
there are several challenges from a legal perspective in this community. And the recent vote, I'd say, has lifted some of them, but as you probably know, there's still a federal ban.
Yep.
Cannabis is still classified, and the discord between the states and the federal entities always create some form of insecurity for any business entrepreneur in this industry. So we work with hope and with passion, and it keeps us moving forward, but there is always some underlying risk.
Uh-huh. So
I hope it goes away someday.
Yeah. One of the companies that we're working with in California is also an edibles company. And a unique challenge, although not unique to them, but certainly unique to this industry, is that landlords are so hesitant about renting out space, and this particular client has had such a challenging time finding a reasonably priced space to start working with their goods, because landlords feel entitled to jack up the price and pessimistically or even cynically take advantage. Have you experienced any of that?
Well, we've been very fortunate. We actually own our cultivation sites, so we don't have an issue with the landlord there.
Uh-huh.
And for our commercial kitchen, we were very fortunate to meet a landlord who was open to this and really, I think, drawn in by the professional aspect of our company and the security plan that we proposed, and just everything that we had to show him. So we feel very fortunate every day.
Oh, fantastic. The security issues are one of the things that one of the challenges that cannabis companies are most concerned about. It is still a heavily cash-based business because so many banks do not yet want to accept cannabis companies into their portfolio of clients. How do you go about managing that? Do you have special infrastructure set in place to manage the cash flow? Do you have a team of security consultants that transport the cash to different places? Do you feel comfortable with the system that you've put in place to date?
At the moment, we have been able to work with some banks, and we
wonderful.
Again feel very fortunate about that. But it's still I know it's a very tricky subject for a lot of entrepreneurs.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's very interesting. And then as far as kind of managing the infrastructure of the business itself from a digital point of view, have you found great softwares to manage the flow of products and kind of monitoring which product goes where and all of that logistical stuff? Has that been challenging also?
Yeah, well, I use a mix of different online softwares and Excel for all the administrative side. So there's a few out there. One is called Xero. It's just like a billing software. It's great for tracking numbers. There's also some payroll softwares like Gusto, and a few others. So those are some of the softwares that I like to use.
Oh, fantastic! And many of our listeners, of course, are entrepreneurs and other startup companies in the space. What kind of advice would you give to someone who wants to get in this industry and maybe launch a tincture product or some kind of product within the cannabis industry? What do you think they should know that you had to learn the hard way?
I'd say if you really have a passion for this, do this, but don't expect it to be easy because it won't be, but that's kind of what makes it fun. So just hang in there anytime it gets hard because it will be fun.
Wow. So and so, if you don't mind, are there any specific instances of difficulties or challenges that kind of really stand out in your mind as being tough but still nevertheless an important hurdle to traverse?
Yeah, I can give you one example. One day we were in our early days making a batch of cannabis butter, and we were using a recipient that was made out of plastic to pour it into.
Okay.
Unfortunately, apparently when we poured it into the recipient, the batch was so hot that it cracked the plastic, and about 2 pounds of cannabis butter spilled all over the place.
Oh, no.
That was a setback, but you learn from that, and now it just seems funny in retrospect.
So what measures did you institute after that instance to make sure that it wouldn't happen again?
We never use that kind of plastic again.
Okay, so in other words, you didn't. For many entrepreneurs, having these kinds of things might stimulate them to create their own plastic or to somehow devise their own filling system, or a new way to kind of better perfect this process. But instead, you just went with a different company and use a better, more fortified plastic.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's just there's like different options for kitchen equipment out there, and I think that piece of equipment was probably not the best. And we learned from that better invest in high quality kitchen equipment that will last and that will really serve you through. So.
Okay, fantastic. And then how do you anticipate your company growing? Are you employing a lot of different social media outlets? Are you involved in the search engine optimization process? What does branding mean to you, and how does your marketing efforts reflect that?
Well, we hope to continue to grow with California. We're very excited by the prospect of a recreational market and what that will allow us to do. So we have a few things planned for that, and then we'll see. The sky's the limit. As long as people want to eat medicated French macaroons, we're here to provide them.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, well, we're just about to wrap up here. I think a lot of our listeners got some really great insights into the edibles process and different challenges they can expect. How would you like to leave our listeners? What should they know about the edibles business? What should they know about your company? And of course, how can they reach out and connect with you in the future?
They can find us online at MadamMunchie.com or on Instagram at MadamMunchie. And I would say please continue to do the great work that everyone in this community and industry is doing to help move this forward. I do think it's also still largely a political process and an activism process to help legalize this for everyone in the country, not just California. And keep up the good work, everyone.
Okay, well, there you go. Thank you so much, Kim. It was a pleasure to have you, and we look forward to speaking with you again in the very near future.
Sounds great. Thank you, Abe. It was a pleasure speaking with you as well.
Okay, great. That's THC Legal Group's Thought Leadership podcast series. Good night.